Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 137 based on novel. So let's start. As Luo Feng flew into the dark abyss, an invisible ripple passed over him. However, with his God Emperor early stage physical body, he easily resisted it. Meanwhile, Luo Feng noticed that Emperor Ming remained calm, but Emperor Fu frowned slightly, seemingly struggling. Whoosh! 2 drops of water instantly enveloped Luo Feng, Emperor Qing, Emperor Fu, and Emperor Ming, carrying 4 of them away from Origin Continent, the Origin World. These drops of water traveled at an incredible speed through the chaotic Origin dimension. Luo Feng had once used his Eye of Life and Death to observe outside the Origin World, but in the blink of an eye, the drop carrying them left Origin Continent far behind. My homeland, the Origin Continent. Luo Feng watched as the vast Origin World rapidly shrank and then disappeared from view. He understood that he had left his homeland. When he first arrived at Origin Continent, he thought the primitive universe was his home, but now, outside the Origin World, he realized that Origin Continent, this complete Origin World, was his true home. Leaving there meant his clone also lost the protection of the supreme laws. So fast. Luo Feng and the others looked ahead. In the distance, a massive Origin World quickly approached them. Yet, with a flash, the drop of water streaked past it. Whoosh! 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 10, 20, 50. One colossal Origin World after another, similar to Origin Continent, disappeared from Luo Feng's view within seconds, showcasing the astonishing speed of the water drop. Is that an innate chaotic Origin life form? Emperor Fu couldn't help but speak. Luo Feng saw it too, a massive and meandering black serpent swimming through chaotic Origin dimension. This black serpent seemed to fly leisurely, yet its body was far longer than the entire Origin Continent. The Origin Continent, along with the surrounding universe ocean, made up the complete Origin World, yet the serpent's body was about 1/3 of the length of the entire Origin World. The massive, winding serpent glanced at the fleeting drop of water. The drop moved too quickly, disappearing at the far end of its sight in a blink. Moving this fast through chaotic Origin dimension? Could it be an Origin World master skilled in escape, or is it the teleportation method of one of those chaotic Origin overlords? The black serpent speculated silently. This vast territory belonged to the Cultivator faction. In chaotic Origin dimension, moving at such speeds usually pointed to one of these 2 possibilities. It seems my presence has been exposed. I'll hunt again next time. The black serpent swam lazily before vanishing without a trace. In mere moments, a shadow descended upon a patch of spacetime and solidified into a black-robed youth. Standing there, the surrounding vast spacetime seemed to bow before him, and all traces within the spacetime submitting. It's just the offspring of a world-level chaotic Origin life-form serpent. The black-robed youth's eyes turned icy, and a fierce killing intent emanated from him. The Infinite Serpent clan is the most troublesome among innate chaotic Origin life-form races. They can appear anywhere in the infinite chaotic Origin dimension at will and disappear just as suddenly. The black-robed youth murmured, "The Infinite Serpent clan is the boldest, daring to infiltrate the heart of our Cultivator faction's territory. I must find an opportunity to crush a few of their offspring." Whoosh! With that, he vanished without a trace. Judging by its size, it should be a world-level chaotic Origin life form, Emperor Qing remarked as the drop of water sped through the infinite chaotic Origin dimension. Fortunately, we are protected by the teleportation water drop, which isolates all contamination. Otherwise, directly gazing at a living world-level chaotic Origin life form, Emperor Fu, you might have perished instantly. Among the 4 present, Emperor Fu's mind and willpower were the weakest, still at the ultimate God King level. Luo Feng and Emperor Ming were both curious. From within the water drop, they only saw a vague glimpse of the winding serpent as it quickly disappeared, feeling no danger at all. While traversing the infinite chaotic Origin dimension via teleportation, you occasionally see innate chaotic Origin life forms. But ones as powerful as that are rare, Emperor Qing said, sharing his experience. We're nearing the 9 Rivers Sacred World. After passing through 125 Origin Worlds, the water drop finally reached its destination. The Nine Rivers Sacred World was a massive oval-shaped world. From its scale, it was slightly smaller than the origin continent. Viewed from the infinite chaotic origin dimension, 9 winding rivers could be seen encircling around the world. These 9 rivers resembled chains, each faintly flowing with countless mysterious patterns, forming a grand formation that completely sealed the world. Whoosh! The water drop carried Luofeng and the others into the 9 rivers sacred world. At the center of the 9 rivers sacred world stood a towering sacred mountain. At the mountain's foot lay a dark abyss. The water drop fell into the abyss, and Luofeng, Emperor Qing, Emperor Ming, and Emperor Fu emerged from it. Luofeng immediately noticed over 200 figures already gathered at the mountain's foot. They either grouped in 2s and 3s or stood alone, all patiently waiting. They must belong to different cultivation systems. Luofeng could discern their distinct temperaments. A burly man sat silently with a massive bow on his back. An elder in a long robe and glasses looked over curiously. A giant made of rock seemed to be sleeping, a semi-transparent being hid within the cracks of the rocks, cautiously observing Luofeng and his group, and a fiery woman seemed to merge into the void. Ah, my body! Emperor Fu's face suddenly changed as traces of his skin began peeling, with energy dissipating. Emperor Qing, Luofeng, and Emperor Ming all turned to look at him. My body is collapsing, Emperor Fu said anxiously. Don't panic, Emperor Qing reassured him. Any complete Great Tao is applicable across all origin worlds. However, the 9 Rivers Sacred World is not a origin world but a special cultivation world created by the senior Yuan. Your body's core, the Great Tao of Space origin, partially conflicts with the 9 Rivers Sacred World, causing instability in your physical form. You just need to discard the incompatible parts and rebuild your body's system. Your strength might decrease, but at least your body won't collapse. Emperor Qing, with his prior experience, advised him carefully. Emperor Fu nodded and could only begin to refine and perfect his physical body again. For those who comprehend the Tao, their entire physical body is constructed by themselves from the most basic structures, so naturally, it can also be modified. Brother Luo He. Emperor Qing looked at Luofeng beside him in surprise. Emperor Ming cultivates the chaotic origin bloodline. The chaotic origin bloodline's physical body and chaotic origin dimension are highly compatible, which makes it naturally suited for many worlds. But you probably don't cultivate the chaotic origin bloodline, do you? Luofeng smiled. The various clones he had cultivated were entirely capable of transforming into chaotic origin bloodline life form, so it was easy for him to adapt when arriving in the 9 Rivers Sacred World. I haven't cultivated the chaotic origin bloodline, but arriving in the 9 Rivers Sacred World hasn't affected my strength, Luofeng said. Emperor Qing was intrigued but didn't press further. To construct a physical body purely based on the mysteries of the Tao, only to have it collapse upon arriving in a new world. Luofeng looked at Emperor Fu, while Emperor Qing, standing to the side, explained, for those who comprehend the Tao, traveling to different worlds and adapting to them is also a form of cultivation. Luofeng pondered this deeply. The sacred mountain behind them rumbled. New cultivators, every era, flying boats arrive to take you to one of the cities in the 9 Rivers Sacred World. Luofeng and Emperor Ming turned to look at the towering sacred mountain ahead. There was a mountain path leading to the peak. The one speaking just now was the sacred mountain, Emperor Qing explained. The sacred mountain guards 2 teleportation passages. 2 teleportation passages? Luofeng asked, puzzled. The teleportation passages at the mountain's base allows you to return to Origin Continent, Emperor Qing said, pointing to the mountain path. Following the mountain path, only those with the strength of a late-stage god emperor who comprehends the Tao can reach the summit. At the summit, there is also a deep pool that can be used for teleportation, leading to the Darkness Sacred World. The ancestors of 2 kingdoms are located in the Darkness Sacred World. Luofeng and Emperor Ming nodded in understanding while Emperor Fu focused on perfecting his body. Wait for me a moment, Emperor Qing said, walking toward the more than 200 figures. You all should know the rules of the 9 Rivers Sacred World. At that moment, Emperor Qing's invisible aura spread across the heavens and earth, enveloping the area and even encompassing the over 200 elderly cultivators present. These individuals had already reached the early stage of God-Emperor comprehension back on the origin continent. Though their time exploring the Nine Rivers sacred world was relatively short, they had accumulated some experience. Without the suppression of an origin world's will, Emperor Qing's aura was far more terrifying than Luo Feng's. The over 200 figures turned pale, realizing that even if they joined forces, they couldn't match this terrifying figure. Emperor Qing smiled and said, "The Nine Rivers sacred world has a total of 35 cities. I plan to head to Ulon City. Anyone who are willing to go with me may join now. Each cultivator must pay a fee of 100 chaotic origin crystals or equivalent value. This is the standard price. I'm willing. I'll join." One by one, figures stood up. Some were already cultivating and exploring within the Nine Rivers sacred world and had merely returned to their homeland briefly. Now, they were heading back. Lacking sufficient strength to travel alone, they were all waiting for the transport flying boat. This God Emperor Senior wouldn't dare to lead unless he was confident. There's no real difference between the 35 cities of the Nine Rivers sacred world. For new cultivators like you, joining Ulon City is entirely feasible. Who knows how much longer we'd have to wait otherwise? Other cultivators also chimed in. Soon, 96 cultivators agreed to follow. Most were able to pay the 100 chaotic origin crystals, while those who couldn't offered equivalent items instead. "I've made nearly 10,000 chaotic origin crystals," Emperor Qing said with a pleased smile, accepting the payment before turning to Luo Feng, Emperor Ming, and Emperor Fu. In the Nine Rivers sacred world, chaotic origin crystals are essential everywhere. Without them, you won't even have the right to stay in a city long term. Perhaps this is also why Senior Yuan pushes us to take risks. Emperor Qing waved his hand, and a cyan metal flying boat appeared. Although its surface bore some wear and tear, its aura was terrifying, causing everyone present to tremble. Luo Feng also realized that, without the Star Tower or the Eye of Life and Death, there was likely some gap in strength between himself and Emperor Qing. "Let's go," Emperor Qing said. With a single thought, he arranged for the 96 cultivators to be placed in the rear cabin, while the 4 of them stayed in the front hall of the flying boat. With a whoosh, the cyan flying boat merged into the void and flew at extreme speed toward Ulon City. "The most dangerous places in the Nine Rivers sacred world are those 9 rivers," Emperor Qing said, standing in the front hall of the flying boat and gazing into the distant exterior. "The 9 rivers are like 9 chains, sealing the entire world. These rivers are also the energy hubs of the world, drawing immense chaotic origin power from the outside to converge within them. Therefore, the energy concentration is highest within the 9 rivers. The low-level chaotic origin life forms live within these rivers to absorb sufficient energy for long-term survival," Emperor Qing explained. Luo Feng gazed into the distance. "There are many low-level chaotic origin life forms within the 9 rivers?" "Many, too many to count," Emperor Qing nodded. "No one knows how many low-level chaotic origin life forms Senior Yuan and the others captured and threw into the 9 rivers. These life forms are also our primary hunting targets in the 9 rivers sacred world. Of course, they hunt us as well." As the flying boat traveled, Emperor Qing shared more common knowledge about the 9 rivers sacred world with Luo Feng and the others. In the front hall of the flying boat. "The space in the 9 rivers sacred world is so stable. Even with my understanding of spatial laws, I feel like I can't fly properly." Emperor Fu barely steadied his body, already beginning to sense the uniqueness of the 9 rivers sacred world. Emperor Qing smiled and said, "The 9 rivers sacred world is home to countless low-level chaotic origin life forms and powerful beings from billions of worlds. The destructive power from their battles is unimaginable. The world must be incredibly stable, otherwise, it wouldn't be able to bear such conflict." Luo Feng nodded. "The power of the origin world must be restricted to maintain the stability of the world. The 9 rivers are like chains, locking the entire world in place. This must also serve to enhance its stability." Luo Feng began to understand the deeper significance of the 9 rivers. "Well, because the world is so stable, even if the Tao of space reached the half-chaotic origin level, one can only manage extremely short-distance space travel. Emperor Qing chuckled, this flying boat of mine can only fly slowly as well. It's already very fast, Luo Feng praised. Among his 5 clones with distinct talents, some were adept at traveling. Even so, the fastest among them was only about 30 to 40% as fast as Emperor Qing's flying boat at that moment. A third eye appeared at Luo Feng's brow. It was the secret method, bionic eye of annihilation. In the origin continent, after long-term comprehension of the Star Tower and frequent use of the Eye of Life and Death, Luo Feng had deeply studied both. Most of Luo Feng's secret methods were created based on the profound texts of the Star Tower. However, from the deep texts of the Eye of Life and Death, he had created only one secret method, the bionic eye of annihilation. And over time, this secret method was still being continuously improved. But, with the bionic eye of annihilation at his brow, Luo Feng's observational capabilities were not at the level of jumped out of the cage, but even in a sacred land, they were considered top-notch. Luo Feng noticed a faintly visible light green creature merging into the void in the far distance, hiding in the distance. That illusory creature was staring at the approaching flying boat, brimming with hostility. Brother Emperor Qing, be careful. There's a low-level chaotic origin life form lying in ambush ahead, Luo Feng said. Emperor Qing glanced at Luo Feng in surprise and smiled. Brother Luo He, your detection abilities are incredible. I tread the spatial laws and have the assistance of treasures, yet I could only barely detect that low-level chaotic origin life form, the Qingyang beast, in the far distance. The flying boat appeared to move at a regular speed, but as it approached the Qingyang beast, it suddenly accelerated by 50 to 60%, quickly leaving the Qingyang beast far behind. The Qingyang beast couldn't even begin to catch up. Not many low-level chaotic origin life forms can surpass the speed of my flying boat, Emperor Qing said. However, in the early part of our journey are relatively simple. In the mid-journey, we'll have to cross over the rivers, and that will be somewhat dangerous. 2 days later, the flying boat fully merged into the void, as though it were a part of the void itself, flying over a river so vast that its width was impossible to measure, spanning billions of kilometers. The 9 rivers were massive even when viewed from the infinite chaotic origin dimension, locking the entire world in place. The true width of the rivers was terrifying. Even at the flying boat speed, it took half a day to cross. Using his bionic eye of annihilation, Luo Feng observed. Brother Luo He, how many low-level chaotic origin life forms can you spot? Emperor Qing asked curiously. I've spotted 3, Luo Feng said, displaying a simple regional map in front of him. In the distant high skies, there's a bird-like creature blending into the wind. In another place, there's a cloud cluster hiding a low-level chaotic origin life form. And here, above the water's surface, there's a creature lurking. Impressive! Emperor Qing exclaimed. I've only spotted 2, but Brother Luo He can detect 3 low-level chaotic origin life forms. Your detection abilities surpass mine. Luo Feng silently sighed. If he had brought the Eye of Life and Death, his detection abilities might have increased 1,000 times. However, such treasures and items from the infinite space treasury were prohibited from being taken outside the origin world. Bringing them out might invite catastrophic dangers. The flying boat cautiously advanced, fully integrated into the void, maintaining a safe distance from the low-level chaotic origin life forms. Low-level chaotic origin life forms primarily reside within the 9 rivers. Only within the rivers is there enough energy to sustain their survival. Even when they leave, they don't venture far, so they can quickly return. Emperor Qing calmly observed the surroundings. These low-level chaotic origin life forms lurking above the rivers are simply trying their luck, hoping to encounter travelers. Aside from those of us journeying, it's rare for anyone to cross over the rivers, Emperor Qing chuckled. Rest assured, the low-level chaotic origin life forms trying their luck in the skies are generally weaker. The truly powerful ones remain dormant and only act when they invade regions where cultivators live, as that's where they can hunt more prey, Emperor Qing explained. What about the strength of low-level chaotic origin life forms? Emperor Ming asked from the side. Although we call them low-level chaotic origin life forms, they are still chaotic origin life forms. Emperor Qing said. They are naturally born beings who jump out of the cage. It's only because they cannot tap enough into their potential, so their strength relatively weak. Typically, low-level chaotic origin life forms are at the God Emperor stage in terms of power. Emperor Qing looked at Emperor Ming. Even the weakest of low-level chaotic origin life forms are slightly stronger than you, Emperor Ming. While their intelligence is low, their vitality and physical bodies are incredibly formidable. To kill even the weakest low-level chaotic origin life form, one typically needs to be a Tao cultivator in the early stage of God Emperor. In terms of strength, chaotic origin bloodline cultivators must reach the middle stage of God Emperor level to match them. In the Nine Rivers Sacred World, the combat strength at the early stage God Emperor Tao cultivator is considered a threshold. Reaching this threshold allows one to participate in certain hunting battles, Emperor Qing explained. Otherwise, no team would accept you. Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu exchanged glances, while Luo Feng felt a bit pressured. A Tao cultivator at the early stage of God Emperor? Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu exchanged glances, while Luo Feng felt some pressure. The 8 fusion techniques of Great Tao of Life and Death only barely meet the threshold of a Tao cultivator in the early stage of God Emperor. The ultimate technique of the Great Tao of Life and Death is the standard for that level. A true early stage God Emperor Tao cultivator could effortlessly unleash such power, and their techniques were far more refined. Some close-range ultimate moves could even surpass the standard. Fortunately, I have 5 clones. Each is an early-stage God Emperor, with unique talents. Together, they should be able to compete with an early-stage God Emperor of Tao cultivator. I'm still too weak. I must make sure I'm at least qualified to join a hunting team. Luo Feng felt slightly apprehensive. Without the Eye of Life and Death or the Star Tower, his strength had indeed diminished significantly. Above the vast river, the flying boat cautiously advanced, fully merging into the void and maintaining a safe distance from the low-level chaotic origin life forms. Along the way, only one low-level chaotic origin life form managed to catch a glimpse of the flying boat's details, but the boat quickly outpaced him with its speed. The sacred mountain lies at the center of the entire Nine Rivers Sacred World, so traveling from the center to Ulon City requires crossing 2 rivers. During this journey, Luo Feng witnessed Emperor Qing's strength. Emperor Qing, maneuvering the flying boat, displayed a mastery of spatial path that far surpassed Luo Feng's Great Tao of Life and Death. An ultimate level secret technique, Brother Emperor Qing, have you reached the mid-stage God Emperor level? Luo Feng inquired via voice transmission. Since they were about to become companions, Luo Feng naturally wanted to understand the other's strength. If the gap was too large, prolonged cooperation would be unnecessary. Reaching the mid-stage God Emperor level is not so easy, Emperor Qing replied telepathically. I achieved the mid-stage God Emperor level back on the origin continent. Though the Nine Rivers Sacred World offers more opportunities that have allowed me to advance further, I've only just stepped into the threshold of the mid-stage God Emperor level, gaining some mid-stage God Emperor secret techniques. However, fully becoming a mid-stage God Emperor will still take a long time. Luo Feng understood. Emperor Qing had comprehended some mid-stage God Emperor secret techniques, and with the aid of secret treasures, his strength could be even more formidable. For now, Luo Feng recognized that there was a considerable gap between his strength and Emperor Qing's. When we reach Ulon City, we won't rush into hunting, Emperor Qing said, smiling at Luo Feng. First, we'll use Ulon City's resources to strengthen ourselves, purchase suitable resources, select appropriate secret treasures, and then set out for hunting once we're fully prepared. Their conversation was conducted telepathically, avoiding Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu. We're almost there, Emperor Qing said, looking ahead. Ulon City. As soon as he spoke, the flying boat suddenly accelerated, and a massive city appeared in the distance. Luo Feng, Emperor Ming, and Emperor Fu all looked closely. The city resembled a massive fortress with numerous colorful formations operating above it. Layer upon layer of protection made Ulon City impenetrable. What terrifying formations, Luo Feng sensed from afar, feeling their immense and unshakable power. The 35 cities of the Nine Rivers Sacred World were built at great cost. These protective methods represent different cultivation systems. Various systems work together to protect the city. However, low-level chaotic origin life forms are ultimately beings that have jumped out of the cage. Some of them have unique talents. Even with these diverse protective measures, it's still impossible to prevent all low-level chaotic origin life forms from infiltrating Ulon City and attacking cultivators inside. Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu looked serious after hearing this. Low-level chaotic origin life forms capable of infiltrating Ulon City are 1 in 10,000 and extremely rare, Emperor Qing continued as the flying boat approached the towering city gate. As the flying boat approached the gate, waves of energy swept over it. A blurred figure of a man in a blue robe with a large beard formed within the boat. The man looked at Luo Feng and his companions before smiling at Emperor Qing. Emperor Qing, you've brought 3 companions? And a few dozen new cultivators as well? Emperor Qing nodded with a smile. The 35 cities of the 9 Rivers Sacred World follow the same rules, the bearded man said with a smile. First, upon entering the city, you must rent a cave residence within 3 days, or you'll be expelled. Second, the protective formations require each cultivator to pay 1 chaotic origin crystal per era. If the fee is overdue, you'll also be expelled. Third, the city prohibits cultivators from killing each other. Violators will be executed. As this is your first time entering the city, we need to record your identities. The blue-robed man looked at Luo Feng and his companions. My name is Luo Feng said with a smile. Emperor Qing and the others knew Luo Feng went by multiple names, including Milky Way and Luo He. I'm Emperor Ming. I'm Emperor Fu. The blue-robed man simultaneously divided his thoughts to record information on the other cultivators in the back cabin of the flying boat. These 3 will be staying in my cave residence, Emperor Qing said with a smile. I'll prepay 100 eras worth of rent for them. With that, he handed over 300 chaotic origin crystals. The blue-robed man nodded with a smile. Very well. Luo Feng, Emperor Ming, and Emperor Fu, your address is Emperor Qing's cave residence. Soon, the registration procedures for the cultivators were completed. Emperor Qing temporarily stored the flying boat and led Luo Feng and the others into the city. So many cultivators, Luo Feng was quite shocked. A glance at the uncountable number of caves, there were often cultivators flying up. At a glance he saw millions of cultivators with very different attire and aura. Obviously there were numerous schools of cultivation. I'm among the weakest, Emperor Fu said with mixed emotions. Many monarchs and emperors were reluctant to venture out, preferring to delay their departure until their homeworld was about to perish. Even the 2 kingdom ancestors in the darkness sacred world are ordinary and insignificant here. The so-called 3 rules just now, the last one prohibits killing each other, violators will be executed. Emperor Qing overlooked the vast city below and said blandly, don't believe in this rule too much. Ulon City is the self-control of the cultivators. If you want to punish anyone, you must first have enough evidence. However, many cultivation systems and assassination methods are mysterious and leave no trace. It's often impossible to identify the true perpetrator. Luo Feng nodded. For example, he could dispatch a clone and change its identity with invisible and formless transformation to carry out an assassination. Without evidence, the matter would remain unresolved. Emperor Qing turned to Emperor Ming and said, Emperor Ming, the safest approach for you 2 in Ulon City is to appear as poor as possible. Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu appeared contemplative. With the rules in place, no one would take the risk unless sufficiently tempted. But if someone weak displays treasures, death will soon follow. On the contrary, appearing poor keeps you safe. You'd better adapt quickly, Emperor Qing said. Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu nodded slightly. As they conversed, Emperor Qing, Luo Feng, Emperor Ming, and Emperor Fu arrived in the inner city of Ulon City. Up ahead is my cave residence, Emperor Qing said calmly. I will grant you 2 a small amount of its energy access, enough to sustain slow cultivation. The rest of the energy will be divided equally between Luo He and me. Emperor Ming and Emperor Fu obediently listened, knowing it was already generous for Emperor Qing to let them stay and grant them any energy access. Brother Luo He, Emperor Qing said, looking at him. The rent for this residence is 100 chaotic origin crystals per era. I'll cover the first 1,000 era. After that, we'll split it equally. Of course, you can choose to rent a separate residence. This video will end here.